Welcome back, everyone. It's your host Jay here with another opening to Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga. Our heated adventures over analyzing manga we find interesting. On this episode is another revisit, Kaiju number 8. On this episode we read chapters 41 through 55, otherwise known as the Kaiju Weapon Arc. Will we laugh? Will we cry? Will we simp? Absolutely. Let's jump in.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the franchise that we read this week. Unfortunately, I continue to be bad at my job and did not read any more Kaiju number 8 since last time, which sucks because it's real easy to read. That's just a skill issue on my part. But, you know, such is life. Jacob, how about you?
When are we doing a part 4? I am current and I really want to talk about it.
Okay then. Jay, how about you?
Same. It only gets better from here, if that's even possible.
Well, at least I'm not the least read one of the cast. That would be Matt, who isn't here. Yes, so we open up with our favorite captain of the Defense Force, the incorrigible Gen Narumi. Well,
He's a king.
Technically, we don't open up on him. We open up on Tokyo, where an earthquake has transitioned into a massive sinkhole opening up in the city and unleashing ants. The most terrifying thing I've seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah, no, ants freak me out. But it kind of makes you wonder how many people died in the buildings that went into the sinkhole. They never really addressed that idea.
Yeah, they're just casualties. It's fine. It's fine.
This arc has felt the most One Punch Man in the amount of collateral structural damage that needs to have resulted in so much lost human life.
But currently, Squad 1, particularly Squad 1's captain, has a more pressing issue that...
Yes, it seems he's a bit strapped for cash.
I swear I cashed my paycheck, but for some reason the money has disappeared from my account.
What a shame.
It's a real big mystery, one that would take an incredible mind to unravel, or maybe just Kikuru wandering into his room and seeing all of the Amazon boxes stacked up behind him.
She points out how unbelievably unethical it is for a superior officer in a military organization to ask a subordinate for a loan because, yes, that's really bad.
It's okay. I'm sure he got you something.
My favorite part is that his t-shirt reads sincere.
He was very sincere.
I refuse to believe he did that on purpose. That's a happy coincidence.
No, he is not cognizant enough of the universe around him to have made that choice on purpose.
Thankfully, this gets tabled as the squad is sortied to deal with the ant problem.
Get the raid.
They need so much raid. These are friggin' massive ants, dude.
I mean, they're kaiju. What do you want?
The square cube law is crying in the corner right now.
As with all kaiju fiction, the square cube law does not exist in this universe. Hi, Godzilla. I see you over there.
And we get moments with Narumi being incredibly cool. One-shotting one of the ant kaiju with a powerful overhead blow. And Kaiju number 8 continuing to flex one of its best features, which is dynamic-ass action splash panels.
Yes. It's almost... I really hope you guys did the reading, but listeners, it's just beautiful. Mm-hmm. You can literally feel each shot by shot on each page, and you're just there in it.
And I mean, like, this is a combat shot, but they can do that just with emotional impact, too. They make emotional impact have a literal physical impact. It's insane.
We'll get to the panel of Kikuru that made me cry.
Yeah. Oh, you have so many good things in your future, Sam. Anyway,
Boy, we will get to that. And I really want to focus on this panel of Narumi one-shotting the ant, even though I hate looking at the ant. I don't like its face.
It doesn't like your face either, Sam.
It would eat it if it given the opportunity.
With its big spiky teeth, why's it got those? But like the dynamism of Narumi hitting it is accentuated not only by the action lines, but also seeing the ant like bowing in the wrong direction, and the manga somehow manages to convey a look of profound pain on an ant's face.
Pain, surprise, and confusion on what is otherwise a normal ant face, except for the mouth is like a big gaping maw with
Those talent
teeth
to be able to really like reflect emotion into
non-human things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's absolute top tier work by Matsumoto.
Only really just extrapolating on the fact that Narumi is that awesome. He can make motionless things emote. It's beautiful.
And he exemplifies how awesome he is by telling the two kids he saved to go post Captain Narumi is awesome 10 times on social media using their mom's phone.
He's a social media influencer because he needs that cash.
Also he's still salty about Mina. Did you know she has a tiger, Ashiro, being more popular than he is currly?
But I heard she has a tiger.
She has a tiger. Yeah, it's pretty hard to keep up with that. So that's why he's got to get them to post 10 times on social media. And it's sort of funny because as lame as that is, because it's really lame, this is a case where they actually, like, he actually pulls it off and comes off as cool despite how lame that comment is. Because Kaiju number 8 is in pretty serious mode right now.
It is, as exemplified by Kikaru going absolute beast mode on a bunch of these ants.
I mean, she just really doesn't like ants.
Frankly, I don't blame
I don't
her.
either. That's just another reason for Kikaru to be awesome.
Ants are very cool creatures. I want to stay far away from them, though.
Yeah, that's sort of my opinion on them.
Just your system just goes into overdrive and you just see them. That's all that happened in this episode.
Swarming, hive-minded death machines that are strong enough to lift several times their own body weight like it's nothing and will just destroy you if you give them a reason. Like, I know I am not in a scale that I am actually threatened by ants, but they conceptually terrify me.
Yep.
And these ants are in a scale that they could hurt me.
Significantly larger. We get a whole bunch of panels of Kikaru being a badass, which is always good as she continues the perfect character design of small girl massive weapon.
Literally a battle axe.
Name a bad one of those, you can't.
I also like that, like, when she's thinking about, because it's like, we get into this even more so as this goes on. This is, the Kikaru's character arc in this section is something that has been hinted at up to this point, but is explicitly talked about here. But despite the fact that it has so much of her identity tied up in being like her mom, the people that she keeps comparing herself to are the squad, or her squad 3 squad mates. I wasn't as good as Vice Captain Hoshina. He was faster. Captain Ashiro hit harder.
Was stronger, yeah. And her manic desire for self-improvement is a far cry from the I'm totally perfect princess we ran into at the start, and I gotta say, love to see that. Very entertaining character arc. And speaking of character arcs and personal growth, Kafka can't get it up.
Yeah, I hear 1 out of every 5.
Performance illusions aside, Kafka actually can't transform in the presence of one of the... He's like faced off against one of the ant kaiju, and he is trying to become Kaiju number 8. He gets like halfway through transforming 3 times, and then it just stops. To the point where Mission Control is like, Kafka, what are you doing, man? Get a hold of yourself. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I will say,
I think they make medication for this.
They have Kaiju number 9 pop up, and like
as he has centaured himself with one of the ants.
Yes.
I will say, and I think that this is good because like Kaiju number 8 isn't the kind of series that has a lot of like 5-layer deep metaphors. It's very like it's not entirely surface level, but it's fairly surface level. So the fact that this is as obvious as it is, I'm just going to state it outright. They attribute Kaiju number 9 having some kind of effect on Kafka is why he can't transform, but I think it's pretty obvious pretty early on exactly what his hangup is because he flashes back to when he almost killed Kikoru's dad right in front of her when he tries to transform the first time. They're not trying to hide it, but they're not doing a very good job of hiding what the actual problem is, which honestly fair.
Yes.
This time, Kikoru has to run off from what she's doing to go save Kafka. A reversal of the last 2 times that the sort of thing happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And here's where we get more of that stellar panel work because we have an absolutely beautiful series, like page turn. As Kaiju number 9 is like, all right, now it's time to kill you, Kaiju number. Cut to panel of Kikoru leaping with the axe, and then number 9 being split in half vertically. Yes. Even his speech bubble, where he is saying the number 8, is split in half.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
For guest of the show, Brandon Bovia, letterer of this of the English version of this manga. My dude, if you are listening, spectacular work.
I mean, as always. Not for nothing. One of the big things that really helps with the impact of the scenes, action sound effects are like layered in. And granted, a lot of what I've read of Kaiju number 8 is the Shonen Jump app version, which has the original kanji instead of the English letters. But having read some of the physical releases of Kaiju number 8, the way that the sound effects are used to accentuate lines of action and such is, as always, spectacular. I do like the when Kaiju number 9 and Kikoru face off. Kaiju number 9's like, who are you again? And it's one of those ones where like there are a lot of stock reactions to it. Kikoru does not have one of those stock reactions. No need to remember. I'm killing you now.
Yes. She is the protagonist now.
She has very handily taken over that role.
Mm-hmm. It's family building because, Kafka's not always going to be able to protect you, but now you're able to reciprocate and protect him. Like a happy family.
Yeah, she needs to protect her nice dad.
Yeah,
and impress her mean dad.
Her nice surrogate dad.
She has her nice dad, she has her mean dad, and unfortunately her mother is dead. We're going to talk about that now. That's what this the next section is entirely about.
The next section then that bleeds into, of a long time coming of female role models.
As Kikoru is facing off against Kaiju number 9, and Kafka is continuing to be unable to transform into number 8. Kikoru is flashing back to her motivation, which immediately made me fear for her life.
Yeah, that's a death flag.
You don't flash back to your motivation when fighting a main villain like this unless you are about to bite it. When she was but a small bean, we get a flashback of her in a shelter watching a live news feed of the kaiju threat that she is sheltering from being destroyed by none other than her own mother, wielding the power of one of the numbers weapons that we learned about last time. And she looks like a bigger Kikoru, and she's super cool. I love Mama Shinomiya.
Basically, she got none of her dad's features. This is probably why he was so grumpy.
Yeah, she is a Xerox of her mom. You know that she's the next generation because instead of having one pointy ponytail, she has 2.
Yep.
Yeah, she's got the pigtails instead of the ponytail.
Or Mama Shinomiya in the news feed looks incredibly awesome, very serious, very stoic. a facial expression that is almost completely identical to the Director General's. And so we're like, oh, she's going to be...
And we've also actually, another thing that's kind of important, we've actually also been seeing Kikoru wear that face a lot lately too, particularly and leading up to this. But again, one really cool thing about Kaiju number 8 is that there are some cases where I feel like it's a little bit too fast-paced. It's a very minor complaint because it's very much the case where I feel like they could have done more with Kafka having a secret identity that they didn't really get into. But one thing that it's very good at is it doesn't ever feel like pacing, like it feels like it's leaving things out that it could have done stuff with rather than it being too fast-paced, because it's very good at weaving elements of the story that will be emphasized later subtly into other parts as background details. The stuff about Kikoru's mom, like being a major motivation for her, not just wanting to impress her father, but also the other parental figure being a major factor, and things like her, donning that face more than once up to this point has, really built into this being a culmination of everything we've seen of her up to this point, even though it's the first time it's being directly addressed.
And this primes us to think that Mama Shinomiya is going to be a supreme hard ass like the Director General. And so when we cut to her coming home and Kikoru giving her a full flying tackle right to the face, like, Mama, welcome back! It's like she's going to be all grumpy about it, like Dad already is. And Mom then proceeds to grab Kikoru by the hands and starts spinning her around going, you little scamp, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh no, she's delightful. She's so dead.
Well, we already knew that, but like...
we already knew she was dead.
It's but like, now, can you be more dead than dead?
Is it possible to have retroactive death flags? Post-mortem death flags?
I would have said no if it weren't for this scene.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if things were arranged a little differently, the moment I would have known that she was dead was when the mother puts on the eyes closed, big toothy grin face that is a carbon copy of the one Kafka does.
I just realized this is another mom in anime and manga in a ponytail. That's another death flag right there.
Kaiju number 8 is a lot of things, and Tropy is definitely one of them.
But yeah, so, we get a cute domestic moment, and Kikoru announces that because she notices granted it's a scratch, but an injury on her mom, she's like, I'm going to join the defense force, and I'm going to protect you, which is goddamn adorable.
It is.
That's why the page turns to her funeral. Because of Carson dies.
Like literally the next page. We have Mom with a big smile on her face. It's like, oh, Kikoru, you're so sweet. Little head pat for my daughter. Next panel, the funeral picture. You know the one.
Dead.
Kaiju number 8 might not be like a particularly like subtle or layered series, but it's definitely a really, really well crafted one in the things that it does set out to do, because there's so much to Kikoru's motivation, and this is just another layer on top of it that we find. The reaction that she has to her mother's passing is, I failed to do the thing I said I would do. It's implied already, but it's explicitly stated later. This is well before her dad goes like full demon mode, because we see him and he's a little bit of a buzzkill, like he's not exactly the most fun person at a party or anything, but he's like just a dude at this point. Like he's not mean yet.
Yeah. And anything, I would even go even further that he takes the stereotypical like father response to losing his wife is he's going to be closed off and like a real hard ass, and and then he goes on to say this later on that he's trying to really make his daughter stronger or whatever, but he does it in such a way that just makes you look like an ass. I don't know.
It very much is the case where, as it is initially presented, it does feel like, like he's making a pretty overt stereotypical Japanese gender roles mistake here in the way he's treating Kikoru. But we do get another flashback later that elaborates on his perspective.
Yeah, and One of the things that this is a small thing, so I'm going to keep this brief, but during the funeral flashback, Kaiju number 8 making effective use of its tropes. We have the funeral going on, we have Kikuru looking devastated, and from her internal narration, the word liar being repeated over and over. And it's like right after her mom said that she'd be there for her and to protect her. And so you're naturally primed to think it's the classic thing of, oh, my parents said they'd be there for me and then they died and now I have, and now I have a complex. But then you turn the page and it's Kikuru calling herself a liar because she had promised to defend her mom. And it's like,
Oh,
child, you are like 4.
Yeah.
You are not fighting a kaiju. But it's the same like complex, but taken from a different angle. And it's, again, Kaiju number 8 playing around with very common tropes to great effect, because suddenly everything that was merely implied about Kikuru's motivation and personality becomes very explicit and just continues to make you root for her.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Kikuru becomes, like I said, main character. You thought it was Kafka. That was just a very, very handsome distraction. It's actually
a DILF-shaped distraction.
He's not even that old. That's the worst part.
Yeah. He better not be. He's our age.
He's not. But anyway.
Yes. So Kikuru and Kafka go to team up on number 9. She manages to incapacitate the big bad and is like, Kafka Hibino, you need to transform, do it now. And he's still having his like trauma flashbacks and is like, oh, this is why I'm not able to transform. I'm worried I'm going to kill all my friends in a berserker rage.
Which, to be fair, the last time he fully transformed, he, again, nearly killed his Dotaru's biological father in front of her, when he already knows that she has parent loss trauma.
I'm just saying, the commercial writes itself. Could it be in your head?
Kafka is, like, berating himself aloud about this, basically talking to himself as he's busy getting the crap kicked out of him by number 9. And Kikuru is like, you freaking disrespectful. How dare you imply that you could kill me?
Oh my god, just turn it around. How dare you?
How dare you imply that you could kill me or anyone else in Squad 3? Have some freaking faith in us, man.
Oh.
And he's like, you're right. I do have a good set of teammates. I need to have confidence.
My freaking Gurren Lagann loving heart immediately exploded with joy on this one. This is the most don't believe in yourself, believe in the me who believes in you. The best one of these I've seen in a while, in a hot minute. And again, I need to give it up to Brandon for this panel. Because it's Kafka screaming at the sky in order to push past his fear.
Scream at the sky. Just go outside and do it right now.
Gotta get that power up pose. You know the one.
Do it right now. We'll be waiting for you. But the like choppy, sketchy lettering breaking out of the panel and like moving even off page, so it's like cut off. It looks so good, dude. And it's comparatively one of the simplest and least dynamic panels in this entire reading section.
And yet it still has the intended impact because of, it's all the little details. It's the lettering. It's his scream is enough to cause the blood that is on his face to fly off into the sky. Like, outstanding. And I do like Kikuru hanging that lampshade. You're never on time, Kafka Hibino. Yeah, just hang that lampshade anywhere you like, Kikuru.
Well, that's how we do it in Squad 3, right?
Yeah, yep, that's exactly how you do it in Squad 3.
Constantly roasting each other.
It's so freaking cute. Kafka's like, hey, thanks, kid. Even if I can't trust myself, I trust you guys 100%. Well, good. Now get in there and kick that thing's ass.
And of course, Kaiju number 9 is up there always with that confidant, and he's like, "I'm different from last time. You have no idea how powerful I've become."
Oh my god, villain rant.
He is in mid-sentence in this speech while Kafka has already punched clean through the ant he's like merged riding with, and has the ant's core. Oh crap, that was the wrong one.
Like, I needed to read that, and that's done through a page turn. I needed to go back and forth on that one like 5 times, because even I was like, did that happen? What was that?
You took so while you were like doing your villain monologue, I was actually doing.
I was here playing the game. And this has actually significantly powered up Kafka, because he's
motivated by the power of friendship.
He's motivated by the power of friendship, and the fear of losing control of the kaiju body is forcing him to think more about using it and unleashing more of its capabilities.
Well, and on top of that, also, in him having lost control, the kaiju itself was what was, calling the shots last time. He doesn't want to lose control. His fear is motivating him to think smarter, and he experienced the kaiju number 8 body's full power previously because he went out of control, and now he's using that to cool, you're not left-handed, neither am I.
One of my favorite, talk about One Punch Man. Kafka leaps like 30 meters in the sky, opens up a vent in his heel, and uses that to rocket blast off back down towards number 9 in
as you do,
in the most Saitama looking pose. As he's winding up with the shot set going, "Say your prayers, because I'm not letting you live this time." As he pulps number 9 into the pavement. So this reading is a huge long action scene. It's just a fight after a fight after a fight after a fight.
Well, really, it's different parts of the same fight.
Mm-hmm. And yet somehow, despite all of that, it's not exhausting, which is crazy, because usually these sorts of marathon fights, the reader starts to feel a little worn out. Like, are we still doing this?
I mean, even sometimes, intentionally, that it's done to exhaust you. But not only does this not intentionally exhaust you, it doesn't unintentionally exhaust you either.
No, I think it has it breaks the fight up, not only with just the action scenes, but also with the internal monologues that each of the characters have, but also the back and forth banter that is also purposely put in there to kind of create some kind of break. The flashbacks also add to it. So even with a continuous fight, there's little breaks throughout that kind of are able to occupy your attention and, make you feel kind of as if you are not having to focus on just one item in particular. Mm-hmm. So in other words, I'm only trying to say I was thoroughly entertained no matter throughout the entire fight, even if we were only fighting one enemy at this point, because it's spaced out with little breakaway, in character growth, character monologues, flashbacks, so that there's a little bit of the not historical, but a little bit more context brought into the situation. So if you are a sporadic reader like I am, and you need to be entertained, because if you are in a fight or an arc that is just constantly one central point, it gets really boring. You need to walk away and then come back. This does this. And that's part of the reason why Kaiju number 8 is it was a perfect match for me.
It keeps you moving through it. With Kafka now no longer needing to hold back, we cut back
Surely
to...
the fight is over.
Obviously.
Kaiju number 9 is defeated. Plot's over.
Yeah, I don't know why there are more, books out. But I mean, it's over, right?
Narumi has been fighting, another one, because
he's a king. He's a king.
What do you mean there's another one?
And we get a display of technically the highest ranked member of the force that goes out and does missions. like the highest like combat power release.
98%.
His numbers weapon.
when I saw him have the like Nia eyes, I thought it was like a stylistic thing. No, I should have had more faith in Kaiju number 8, because Kaiju number 8 will make it the dumbest thing it could be, but make it cool.
Because rule of cool, the manga. I will never stop comparing this to the Tokusatsu series Garo.
Because Narumi also has a numbers weapon. And no, it's not that big gun lance thing he's got. It is the weird eyes, because those aren't his eyes. That is the retina from Kaiju number 1.
Yeah, he got some LASIK done. What else?
He got monster LASIK, which is perhaps the most metal thing I've ever heard. And Kaiju number 1's ability was to, it seemed like future sight, because it would be able to aim where you were going to be, but it's not actually future sight. It just has the ability to visualize the nervous system, reading the neurological impulses of the body of its target to accurately predict movement.
Yeah, so there is a physiological like element to it. In other words, it's able to really pick up on when the synapses are snapping and like, okay, you're going to move your arm or wherever. So it's not really, at least
it's not magic.
Yeah.
It's science-based, because Kaiju number 8 is very, I mean, you know,
he's got the Sharingan. Come on.
Kaiju number 8 is, you know, I mean, you can have magic in a Kaiju series pretty easily. You know, Godzilla's delved into magic a lot. Gamera is pretty explicitly magical. But Kaiju number 8 is really more on the, it's not quite hard sci-fi, especially because the square cube law is bleeding out over there in a corner, but because there's never any explanation for that one. But generally speaking, they'll err on the side of science fiction when it comes to super powered things.
And you know, I'm complaining. I'm saying that he's got the Sharingan, but it is cool.
Well, he's cool, so I mean, yeah.
He is cool. He's so lame, but he's so cool. Why did they have to make the wet cat man cool?
I
hate it.
I mean, Kafka is a pretty giant dork too, so
I don't know. Maybe it's how Chuni Gen is about it. That makes it feel like a more personal attack to me. Like when he gets serious and slicks up his hair to show the white part of his hair and gets the cool eyes. I'd say it's about time to hunt. I'm like, dude, come on. You're embarrassing me over here.
Look, I think you got to say it with that confidence, and there's no cringe.
Exactly.
Yes. Do not kill the part of you that is cringe. Kill the part that cringes.
After definitely for realsies defeating Kaiju number 9, there's definitely no way he's ever coming back ever again, guys. You start to get the beat of, yay, we defeated the main bad guy. And then it's Kikoru in particular who, sort of gets everybody back on task. And no, there's still, the mission isn't over yet. There's still civilians in danger.
All right, the civilians. I keep on forgetting about them.
We need to finish cleaning up these ant kaiju, which they do handily. And it's like, all right, Director General Shinomiya's plan of having a division strong enough to wipe out the kaiju, it looks like it's coming to life. We've got Kaiju number 8, we've got Gen Narumi, we've got Kikoru, we've got the best panel in the whole manga, which is Kafka and Kikoru fist bumping.
I mean, best 2 pages, because you get the fist bump, and then it's one of those ones where it's like, this is just like a normal interaction where it's like, he addresses his 3 main military assets, and he's like, good job, you did the thing. And then the look on Kikoru's face. She's so cute!
She finally got that approval from her father that she's always wanted, and then also gets approval from her other dad as Kafka gives her 2 thumbs up and a big smile.
I want to give her head pets. She's so cute.
I think she would like legitimately melt.
She looks like she's on the verge of being turned into a liquid. It's so nice. So sweet. Oh. Man, you know, this was really nice and all. This is such a sweet moment. What a triumphant victory for our heroes. So Gen is thinking about the plot. He's like, you know what? Kaiju number 9 did say that it was here to kill Kafka and take the great kaiju power for itself. Take the great kaiju power for itself. I wonder what that could mean. What do you mean there's a security breach in the main headquarters?
Uh-oh.
What do you mean Kaiju number 9 has appeared there? As the clone they killed says, guess I'm still gonna take a great kaiju power today, as I finally found you, Kaiju number 2. As it looms.
Standing menacingly behind, literally behind the director Shinomiya. God damn it.
Do we think that they have like different voices? That was when I was like trying to like separate, you know, all the different clones of number 9. It's just like, I wonder if they have different like inflection or different voices.
Possibly. We'll have to wait for the anime to see.
Ah!
But this seems like a good spot to take a quick break before we delve into going to save the Director General. So we'll be back right after this, folks. And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our noble members of the Defense Force. The worst case scenario happened, which is the bad guys saying, "You fool, I have 70 alternative accounts!"
Wait, what?
Kaiju number 9 has more than just one clone. In fact, they didn't even fight the real Kaiju number 9. You know that incredibly difficult fight that almost got Narumi, Kafka, and Kikuru all killed? Not even the real guy.
Not even the real boss.
So, the bigger problem is the fact that the real boss character has appeared inside of the headquarters and is going to murder the hell out of Director General Shinomiya, Kikuru's father, and take the power of Kaiju number 2. So our heroes set off to reinforce the situation, and all of the support staff start running for their damn lives.
Some of the other admins want to help in the fight, but the second in command dude, you know that character. He's here.
Eye Patch Man.
No,
not Eye Patch Man, Bulb Man.
Yeah, the exposition right-hand man of like the admin of an organization. You know that character.
Yeah, Bulbman.
He's like, no, we'll only get in the way. It says I'm supposed to say that right here in the script. This is a shonen.
Really? I thought we were reading shoujo. That would have been completely different. Cute little mushroom demon.
Okay. Honestly, Kaiju number 9 fits in with modern shoujo, or Maho shoujo at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's not a Maha shoujo in a post-Madoka world if somebody doesn't get hideously murdered.
Someone doesn't start bleeding from, some number of orifices.
Mm-hmm. But Kaiju number 9 is a little surprised at how quickly they took out Beta and Gamma, but hey, at least now he can take the power of Kaiju number 2.
The director is absolutely not taking that lying down. He immediately, we get another very common, but I love it, shonen trope of, no, you can't use that. It will shorten your lifespan.
Of course. So I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I will say I'm not as much of a fan of the it will shorten your lifespan variant of this, because I prefer when it like damages the body to use it like in the moment, because that's more tangible and immediate. Because how long would a character live is sort of
Yeah.
nebulous and determined by what the author cares to do with them.
And besides, that makes that is a lot more impactful on like Luffy, who is a young man, than Grandpa McWhitehair here.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Kikuru's dad.
It is Kikuru's dad, and he's an old ass man. Shortening his lifespan isn't that big a deal.
Hey, I'm sure he has his reasons.
Yeah. Anyway, he goes all out with the Kaiju number 2 weapon, but number 9 has become a real friggin' monster. He's got power to him. Like, beyond the fact that he's 15 feet tall and yoked like he goes to the gym post-breakup. He
What?
Man's is built like he's going to the gym to impress an ex.
I mean, a lot of characters are built like that when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people getting brokenhearted out here. People are dying.
Like, it's to the point where he flattens Director General Shinomiya with one attack, and he's like, huh, did I get too strong? Do I even need to take this power? Oh, well, might as well finish him off, and oh, crap!
Shoot a determination punch! It's not very deep, but I fucking love it. So, we're going to keep talking about it. Deal with it.
I had a flashback panel showing my dead wife and my currently living daughter's smiling faces.
That's so cute. It motivates me.
I cannot allow you to exist in the same world as my daughter anymore.
Command and control guy on his goddamn laptop giving the exposition like 3 feet away from the shonen anime battle.
Sir, I need to stay here to make sure that the audience is being given appropriate facts about this fight. Very well.
You are authorized. I will go continue determination punching this giant monster.
I've talked up a lot about how good Kaiju number 9 is with paneling, and like displaying action poses and like impacts and whatnot. We get more spectacular work of that here, like with the panel of number 9 just looming over Shinomiya, who we know is not a small man.
No.
But we have number 9 just like towering over him. But the other kind of panel that Kaiju number 9 is spectacular at is a character standing there looking cool as they power up.
Same page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And I get All Might versus Nomu flashbacks. I feel like we're going to be seeing that a lot in shonen anime for the next forever.
For the next eternity. Not even versus Nomu, versus All for One.
Yes.
Director General Shinomiya does everything short of using the United States as Smash.
He does. Oh my god.
I dare say the only thing that he did different from that fight is, well,
we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We get more spectacular body horror as which number 9 is just great for, because he's already prone to like being posed in these very creepy and asymmetric ways.
Well, because he's a mushroom, he's a fungus. He's a parasite. Hint, hint.
Yeah, his weird fungus head, his constantly bared teeth, and all that. But we get a series of panels where his head gets blown off by an attack, and then his massive bulging pectoral chest with the stump head going, "Excellent, show me more."
He knows what ladies like.
Is that his abs talking? Like
he heard the ladies like buff guys, so he made all the buff.
Did you just talk out your ass?
Well, to be fair, Vegeta, you are part of my DNA. Unfortunately, for the protagonists, the previously considered evil but now kind of likable character is not faring nearly as well.
As Director Shinomiya is coming to the realization that ever since his wife died, between that and the inevitable advancement of linear time, that bastard, he's grown weaker and weaker, and his glory has faded.
He legitimately might have had a shot if he was in his prime, but he kind of knows that this is a lost cause. So we get a flashback. Oh no.
We don't just get a flashback, we get a flashback pose of him and his wife squared up back to back.
But yeah, we get another flashback scene of
right, that one.
We get a flashback scene of now we get the totality of Papa Shinomiya's motivations, which is why bad things are about to happen.
Oh my god, hold on, Jacob, before you go any further. I just noticed this in skimming through the pages while we're recording here. Teeny in the flashback, teeny baby Kikaru she's asleep. It's been a busy day. She has a tiny doll of her mom in the kaiju fighting suit.
It's kind of weird.
Just
all right.
It's a little weird, but it's so cute. Look at it. It's so teeny.
I'll have you know that was a special order.
I believe it.
Actually, no. I fully believe that the captains have merch.
Oh yeah.
I think we know that we do, because that was what that's what Narumi complains about, that his merch doesn't sell as well as Mina. Did you know she has a tiger Ashiro?
Yes, that's her hashtag.
But yeah, in this flashback, Mama Shinomiya is like, so if she's joining the defense force, then I'm gonna have to be strict with her. I'm gonna have to not hold back in her training. I, can't, treat her like my kid. I have to treat her like my subordinate. So I guess that means you have to be the loving, doting daddy. This does not excuse the crap you did. You're still an asshole.
Well, doting could be, I don't know. I can't even fudge that one.
No.
Like, he could be a doting asshole.
She very explicitly says, you need to give our little Kikaru all of the love and attention.
And I mean, like, obviously what ended up happening, and like, this synthesizes with the previous flashback, because we see the point where Papa Shinomiya becomes the director Shinomiya we know and loathe. Okay, the parent who is going to be the strict, stern one is no longer here. That falls to me now, because I know she's not going to not join the Kaiju Defense Force after this.
General Director, far be it from me to criticize your parenting method, but did you ever consider that maybe you could do both?
No.
You could be like a strict trainer, but maybe not an emotionless asshole of a father.
No, we're not doing that. We needed one parent to be cold and unfeeling, which isn't what your wife said, but it's how you interpreted it, because you are a very stereotypical Japanese gender role man.
And then yes, and then what would Kafka have to do? What would he have to do?
Kafka is Kikoru's mom. Yes, God. He's not her surrogate father. He's her surrogate mother.
I'm the mama.
Oh, jeez. I wonder if anyone on Twitter has called Kafka baby girl before. Now they have a reason to. It actually looks like Director Shinomiya is going to, if not win, at least do a mutually assured destruction by destroying number 9. Unfortunately, the immediate next page is Director Shinomiya and Mama Shinomiya and little Kikaru swinging between them, and they're like, nah, Mama is dead. He manages to unleash a directed energy attack. So yes, he uses a ki blast.
As you do.
To completely, carve out number 9's torso to reveal the core, and goes to blast it with a second attack. That ends up like Dragon Ball Z blowing a hole through a skyscraper.
Yeah.
Thank God they evacuated the area?
Question mark? Yeah,
I,
we can presume that that the Kaiju Defense Force puts their headquarters in the abandoned buildings district as is standard operating procedure for all Power Rangers.
I was gonna make another One Punch Man joke. I didn't expect Power Rangers.
I mean, this is a Sentai, you know that, right?
I know. Look, I hadn't thought about it like that before, but you're right. So now that he's done final flashing.
Unfortunately, it was just as effective. The bad guy regenerates.
Damn, number 9 is ugly.
That's not nice.
But like,
I don't care. Number 9 is...
It's a face that only a mother could love.
Number 9 manages to be a bigger asshole than Director Shitamina.
Which is impressive. The panel of him being reduced to like a skeleton, a pelvis, one leg, a single arm, and like a head with a third of its teeth.
I mean, yeah. Imagine the smells.
I don't want to. That wasn't in my brain space before. Now it is, and I'm displeased by this.
Like, when did this become zombie horror for like a panel?
I mean, I guess it's just because I have already compartmentalized him as just a fungus and just being gross, and I'm just like, yeah, this sounds about right.
I suppose you have, Jay, you have done a better job of thinking of number 9 as a fungus and therefore accepting the new depths of horror it can reach. I, meanwhile, continue to hope that we may have finally reached the bottom.
I mean, I've already carried my fungicide with me. I'm good. I don't know about the rest of you. Got my raid, my fungicide, my bleach, all of it.
That's all you need to live in the Kaiju number 8 world.
Lots and lots of bleach.
We have Director Shinomina trying to jazz himself up for one more attack as number 9's regenerating body envelops him in a toothy, fleshy, fungusy wave.
I don't like it.
Come, number 2, return to the Kaiju side.
I don't like it.
The next panel on the next page is an explosion and rubble, and Narumi and Kafka walk up, and we see Director Shinomiya standing atop the fallen body of number 9. And you think, he did it. Now it's the part where he dramatically says goodbye to Kikaru and perishes from his wounds, right?
No, because we had way too many death flags. He can't just die. He needs to super die.
He needs to super die. Hey, did anyone else notice that the corpse that number 9 left behind sure looks like the last time he shed into a new form?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun.
And also the core is missing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta keep an eye on those cores. They're so tricky.
I mean, it's made even worse by the fact that the beginning of the next chapter is another goddamn flashback that humanizes the director.
Talking to Narumi about how once I've created the strongest division, I'm stepping down from my combat role, so I'm leaving the nation in your hands. Like, damn, dude. You really cannot do anything less than putting the most pressure on people. I know it's created 2 immense badasses in the forms of Narumi and Kikaru, but you know that that's not, like, healthy, right?
Look, we have therapists for that.
I don't think they do.
No, they really don't.
I really don't think they do.
It's not in the budget.
And just to put one more cherry on this body horror cake, Kafka senses the presence of another kaiju and yells out a warning as the body of Director Shinomiya gets the twisted, toothy snarl of number 9, and his arm turns into the gun move and nearly just wipes out Gen in one attack. And then he gets the Various suit and finishes transforming. Like that energy ball, it's just that's a Metroid power-up.
Where's Samus when you need her?
She would be an invaluable asset in this, but unfortunately, number 9 continues to live, having taken over the body of General Shinomiya. saying how he killed and fused with him, taking in the power of number 2. And, oh, poor Kikaru.
Yeah, number 9 does not need to transform his face back into Director Shinamiya's face.
100% taunt. 100%.
That was done entirely for the sake of cruelty.
Mm-hmm. Literally on the panel where he's saying, "Oh, so you're this man's daughter, huh?" And of course, Gen has to get in there and start avenging his fallen officer.
And just being awesome. Let's not forget that.
And being extremely cool, yes.
Mm-hmm.
With his Naruto-ass hair.
And as is Kaiju number 9 usually does, in the middle of the fight, is derails it. I'm gonna leave now.
He commits an atrocity and then pisses off.
We get the fight scene does continue because now it's about keeping number 9 there.
Mm-hmm. Keeping him there and killing him to avenge Director Shinamiya. Unfortunately, he now has the power of Kaiju number 2. But fortunately, this whole kill and fuse thing does a real mark on his does a real number on his body.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to finish digesting his meal, I guess, and is trying to leave. And he does that in the way that all villains do, by threatening innocents.
We get a really freaking cool fight that is honestly nigh on impossible to go through beat for beat.
Just read the manga.
The sort of important character bit is Kikoru's giant axe has long since been destroyed by this point. Narumi and Kafka are able to 2 against 1 about evenly match number 9. Kikoru she's not even trying to help because she knows that it would actually just get in the way, which is unbelievably painful both for her and for the audience.
It's pretty friggin' hard to watch and even harder to read, as she's forced to sit there watching her father's killer battle against her surrogate father and older brother.
Yes, that is 100% their relationship.
I refuse to have Narumi in any type of fatherly role.
He is not responsible enough to be a father. Dear God, do not let that man become a father. He will need some serious character development before I would ever allow him around a child, let alone care for one.
But yes, exactly what Kikaru needs in her life: more familial trauma.
I mean, we get a really cool moment of number 9 unleashes its full power and it nearly destroys the body it just obtained. But hey, at least I killed the 2. Barely even damaged from that. I seem to still be underestimating these people. That's bad. I'm gonna leave now.
I love the panel of it going like, go. Just. Its face is so stupid.
He's so perplexed.
He's like, huh. Oh, hey, look. Innocent hostages. I'm gonna mouth beam them now.
And of course, the 2 heroes have to block the attacks.
He questions why humans would let the already fallen or would risk themselves to save the already fallen. It's like, whatever. I guess I'm just gonna head out now, and the next time you see me, I'm going to start the Kaiju era.
Humanity's time is at an end.
The time of man has come to an end. Alas, that is not the end of our reading, because
we got to get more pain in.
More pain.
As one final screw you, he transforms his face back into the Director General to declare that the Kaiju era is coming. And now we're left cleaning up the ashes.
We get another Shinamina family funeral. This had goddamn better be the last, or so help me.
And we get the panel of Kikaru that made me cry because she did not attend the funeral. She was in her father's office, slumped over his desk, crying.
To be fair, she totally knew she would not be able to hold decorum, so she excused herself from the ceremony.
Yeah.
Which is a great amount of maturity to show. and she's crying on the desk, berating herself for how weak she was and how she, at the very least, should have been able to participate in that final push to prevent it from escaping, but even then she couldn't do anything.
I mean, quite frankly, with how much that everyone it fought nearly took it down, one more person helping legitimately could have turned the tide. And
Mhm.
Narumi, showing uncharacteristic maturity intact, immediately starts saying it's not your fault that your father died. But when Kikaru clarifies that she like I won't let this happen again, I need to be stronger. Like, she's not beating herself up about it. It is, if I was stronger, that would not have happened. Therefore, I will do that. And that's the thing that he keeps asking of everyone around him.
The panel of the 2-page spread of just the zoom in on her sobbing face saying that she wants to become stronger is the panel that made me cry. It's the equivalent of the Nico Robin I want to live panel, but but like almost the exact opposite circumstance and emotions. It's God, I can't convey it in words. You gotta see it. Read the damn manga if you haven't already.
Read the book.
But we're still not done with the aftermath because, hey, Kafka, you doing all right over there? You seem real emotional about what's going on here, listening on this conversation. And oh, your hand is still partially kaiju.
Yeah.
I'm sure this won't go badly.
Of course not. You thought this was just going to continue with him being able to go back and forth without any, possibly repercussions or anything? Yeah.
Let me have hope, damn it.
There is no hope, only death and character growth.
This manga does a great job of being very cool and uplifting a lot of the time, but then we have chapters like this. Like, just let me have hope, damn it. So Gen, in his traditional behavior, goes to train Kikaru, and by train Kikaru, he means I give you a
pawn
month
it off on one of his subordinates.
I give you a month until I beat this JRPG. You better be better than literally every one of my direct subordinates by then. And she's like, okay. Meanwhile, Kafka is being tested by the scientists, and they're like, so we're pretty sure this means his transformation is advancing and he's not going to be able to shift back at some point. What do we do?
Especially considering it appears to be the more he transforms, the less he'll be able to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Kafka is sort of mulling this over on the roof because, of course, he is, and it is a manga after all.
I like how this rooftop has 2 benches right next to each other, specifically for the very dramatic shot. There is Kafka on one bench, Narumi on another bench, and the city behind and between them, the gulf between these 2 men. But also the thing they want to...
The sun setting behind them. We need to have dramatic main character conversations up there. The benches are dedicated in memory of the last protagonists of the prequel series we're going to do at some point. Their names are on the back. We never see the back, but their names are right there.
Of course.
Kafka is expecting this conversation to be because your transformation is slowly becoming permanent. You can't keep doing that. So bye. But maturity intact is not exactly Narumi's
strong suit.
So he's like, help me murder the kaijus harder before you inevitably die.
You'd think the random full detail color splash page would have been Kikaru crying, but no, it is Narumi grabbing Kafka by the collar, pulling him in and saying, lend me your power, Kafka Hibino.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, are you guys gonna kiss or what?
Yes. I think my head would have exploded.
Probably. Mine too.
Apparently that's the ship for this episode on the Over Manga Cast.
For this episode, I have others.
But Kafka, of course, is more than shonen determinated enough to go and beat the absolute piss out of number 9.
If you had explicitly forbade me from doing that, I would have done it anyway. Which, to be fair, Kafka wasn't 100% sure how the conversation was going to go because he also knew that was something everybody already knew. So it's very much a fraught situation that ended up being no problem at all because, Narumi.
To end out our reading, we have one last visit with our boy Vice Captain Hoshino. And hey, you guys remember how I mentioned Gurren Lagann earlier? Yeah, no, I think this mangaka likes Gurren Lagann because we see Captain Hoshino walking up to Kaiju number 10, who has been Lord Genomed.
Yep.
He is a head in a jar.
Hey, he's more than a head. He's also got the spine and the core.
And that's what counts.
He's a head in a jar. He is Lord Genome.
He's got some real heart. I love a character with spine.
Shut up.
Got a good head on his shoulders.
Well, with no shoulders.
And that's the end of our reading.
That is the end of our reading.
Indeed.
Oh my gosh. What a friggin' wild ride of a read. They wouldn't put an entire singular fight into a whole arc. But speaking of favorite character and favorite fight,
favorite part of the fight, let's say.
Yes, Kikaru Best Girl. Want to see her obliterate number 9 from this entire timeline. I want to see her go full Future Trunks on his ass.
Ooh.
And she is the new main character, and I love her. She's great. As for favorite fight, as much as I was kind of ragging on it earlier for making fun of, he's got his Sharingan, Narumi versus Clone Beta. Just, he's such a cheeseball. He's so corny. It's embarrassing, but why is he so cool?
Taking notes, Sam.
Yeah, I need to have that confidence.
Gotta have that confidence.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jay, tell us about how Narumi is your favorite character and what your favorite fight is.
So, yes, Narumi, I feel a special connection with Narumi just because he is a king. I love it.
Special connection, that's what they call it these days.
Special connection. Though I have to say, if I'm being honest, favorite character, Kikaru. I really like the way that she's really blossomed this chapter. She's no longer just disgruntled young child that needs defending. She really breaks out on her own and kind of blows everyone away with how she's grown, her motivations, really schooling Kafka of hey, I'm going to defend you. I'm going to step up here and be the hero. And I can hold my own. I can, be a team player. It's not you having to protect all of us. We are family.
And she's so badass while still rocking those tsundere twin tails.
Oh, yes, subjectively. Favorite fight, Narumi. Yes. So yeah, nothing groundbreaking here.
Favorite fight, anything Narumi does.
Yeah.
And Jacob.
So I'm actually going to break a little bit from my co-hosts. Kafka is still my favorite character at this point. There was a lot of development for Kikaru, but there was also a lot of emphasis and focus on, we're making jokes about Kikaru now being the main character. The things that we've said about Kaiju number 8 multiple times, this is a series where every character, including the minor characters, are all the main character of another manga. I really liked Kafka's development here, really addressing that. How could he not be traumatized by almost killing his surrogate daughter's biological dad in front of her when he already knows she has parent death trauma? It's one of those ones where it's very basic, it's very simple, but it's also extraordinarily well handled. And I feel like at least in this section, Kafka retains his place as the main character. As someone who has read to current, it's not necessarily still the case, but I love it. And as for favorite fight, I actually really liked it was mostly the section with Kikoru because once Kafka goes full Kaiju number 8, his fights aren't very long. But I really liked the fight with Kikoru versus Gamma. Though, in all honesty, in having rewatched this, I think the thing that I enjoyed the most, and it's like, I mean, like, I've read this section like 3 times at this point. The thing that I'm realizing that is the most memorable to me is actually that ending fight with Kafka and Narumi against like the new version of Kaiju number 9. Mostly because I just love the way that, because I mean, like, Kaiju number 8 is a Rule of Cool series. The protagonist has most characters pretty heavily outpowered by default, and that's okay. Like, it's not really a series that's built on tension so much as it's a series, built on kineticism almost. But there absolutely was an idea that this is actually someone who could like legitimately one-on-one against Kafka maybe actually win. And yet it made a point of keeping the scales balanced because Kaiju number 9 used everything he had at the time and was expecting to kill everyone in the vicinity and barely damaged anybody in the vicinity, which it's one of those cases where it's like, man, you have done an absolutely excellent job of establishing your main villain as a serious physical threat to the protagonists in a Rule of Cool series, but it didn't diminish Kafka or Narumi in the slightest. It's like it elevated Kaiju number 9 to being the threat and simultaneously elevated the protagonist as being on that level, despite the fact that like this is some of the first real danger that Kafka's Kaiju number 9 form has actually experienced. And that's just really deft writing. That balance is very hard to strike. And in all honesty, a lot of Rule of Cool series kind of get cringy and die because they try to do that transition and fail. So the fact that, this is sort of a macro genre event horizon of, you either keep going past this point or you don't, it's really, it's really a really memorable moment to me. And it also calls back to a lot of elements of Dragon Ball. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend that that isn't also.
And that isn't massively influencing you.
There might be a reason why I remember it the most particularly.
Look, between the One Punch Man and the TTGL influence, it's no wonder I like it too. Come on.
It's like an amalgamation of all of my and Sam's favorite things.
Can't believe it took this long for Kamina to die, and that he was also an asshole. Any theories moving forward for the story and what the kaiju are all about? I mean, you two are current.
Let me explain to you the next several arcs.
Well, I'm just gonna deafen myself in Discord. Wait, I edit these.
So Sam, what are your theories about the kaiju and where they come from? And do you have any theories?
So
we can actually combine that with the third question here about the story moving forward.
So originally, I thought that the kaiju were maybe a sort of Pacific Rim situation where, you know how in Pacific Rim the kaiju are basically terraforming tools and bioweapons rolled into one. That was the plot of that.
Yes.
However, the more that number 9 talks, and acts and interacts with the humans, the more I think that the kaiju are some sort of, they might be like a separate sentient race beside humanity. Like, obviously there are great physiological differences between all of them, but there is something that kind of makes them all compatible with each other, like part of the way that number 9 can revive dead kaiju. And it seems like that they are uh, going to war with humanity for command over the planet. And number 9 is described a few times as as operating like a virus. So it could be that the kaiju are like some long dormant race that have come to take over the earth, or they could be some sort of like infection that's going to wipe out humanity, or it could be both. It could just be a layered metaphor.
That is pretty common kaiju
media in general.
Yeah, like not so much Godzilla and Gamera in particular, but there are a lot of series that use kaiju as a plot point in that sort of context.
In what type of context in particular? Because that's exactly what, well, there's been some discussion about the whole Godzilla, not just franchise, but just the universe of it. Why did he come about where he kind of came about? And it's the idea of, at least how it was explained to me, it's just like humanity, being some type of infection or virus that needed to kind of, and this is the Earth trying to, correct itself.
Yeah, Legendary Godzilla kind of operates that way, but also kind of not. Older Godzilla, like the Toho Godzilla, is less so, because Godzilla is either a superhero or a metaphor for death itself, sort of depending on which movie you're talking about. But like, you look at something like Miyazaki, where anytime there's a giant creature.
That's exactly what I'm referring to, actually. That's a common theme in Japanese culture and Japanese media, specifically started with Godzilla, obviously has expanded into other subsets of the culture, but even when we were having the discussion about why Japan kind of did like a 180, and most of the media coming out of Japan has some kind of dialogue about renewal and about humanity having to confront this supreme nature itself, or something trying to overtake and overcome or make some kind of adaptation. Why Japan was so big on technology and trying to find an alternate reality or alternate world where humanity could safely find equilibrium. Why Japan focused on, it was so Japan folks centered on, Japan had the answer for, what the future of humanity was going to look like, or trying to find some kind of ecosystem with which humanity could find success, is because they were kind of like on this line of being some kind of like finding, I don't know how to exactly explain it, but it's just,
well,
I mean, kaiju in media are almost always explicitly a metaphor for something, a stand-in for something that is seen as a massive threat. Climate change, pretty massive threat right now. So the idea of nature rising up against humanity or becoming
but it's only a threat to humanity, not necessarily a threat to the world as a whole, is what I'm trying to say. Is, it's kind of like our conceptualization of threat is kind of like, maybe for humanity, but for the rest of the world, this is kind of like, you guys are a greater threat to us, so we're trying to rid ourselves of an infection, so to say.
Yeah. So the thing about, this is coming from an American who, isn't never spent any time in Japan. So this is an outsider's perspective. I want to preface that. Sort of the way I see the progression of this is, a lot of Japanese media, because Japan is an island, natural resources are always very hard to come by. And a lot of decisions that Japan as a nation has made over the course of history have had connections to, the truth that Japan is an island. They kind of have to be in harmony with nature, because they don't have a lot of it on the sheer amount of space they have. And obviously, one of the most famous kaiju, Godzilla, is in the original movie literally just a metaphor for the nukes. It's literally just
yes.
I don't want to say personification, because it's a giant lizard, but it is a actualization of the concept of nuclear weapons at a base. Like, it is literally just a walking metaphor for the death that brings.
Well, wasn't it the origin story was supposed to be that, the bombs dropped and that created created the mutation of
mutated a creature, yeah. And like that's sort of those, so it's like there's the existential threat of the bomb, which Japan, of course, is intimately familiar with, sadly. Say what you will about the choice to do that, but it is an objective fact that Japan got nuclear striked twice, and it's the only country in the world that has ever experienced that. Combine that with Japan's already long-standing, I don't want to say contentious relationship with nature, but at least seriously considered relationship with nature because of it being an island. Those sort of fuse together to create the landscape of kaiju that we have today in particular. Because it's sort of interesting. Legendary Godzilla, one thing that comes up a lot with that is the land is restored where the radiation leaves and has plant life in its wake. Which, to take it back to Kaiju number 9, I think is a bit of an interesting factor because we never get anything like that with the kaiju. They seem very foreign. I mean, granted, Jay and I have read a little bit further. We've seen a little bit more behind the scenes stuff, but they haven't revealed anything major yet. And there is an element of the kaiju don't seem to have an immune response or restorative effect. They're just destruction, which does kind of make me think of the nature of Pacific Rim. It does sort of give me the idea of, not even necessarily a foreign invader, but something that's in opposition to the natural order, so to say, far more so than humans are. I mean, the thing that often gets forgotten when the human are an infection metaphor is taken too far is the simple fact that humans are creatures that evolved on this planet naturally by its own processes. Say what you will about, pollution and, war and destruction and such, but we are living things on this planet. And that angle of humanity being a threat to nature hasn't really been addressed in Kaiju number 8, whereas the kaiju are clearly the bad guys here. Even the sort of monstrous ones are presented in a very non-sympathetic way, whereas a lot of Godzilla's even most loathsome depictions of him just being a walking death metaphor still personify him to some extent. So, an interesting angle there.
And Kaiju number 9 is explicitly very cruel.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if they're trying not to give too much away, but it's just really interesting. The whole motivation of number 9 wanting to collect power, wanting to consolidate power, is also going about fusing with various individuals, yes, to absorb their power. But I also wonder if this is also hinting at, wanting to be a further step of evolution for humanity. We've talked about how humanity is, obviously living creatures, but there's also either we could hard reset and go back to being living in more equilibrium with nature, or you could evolve to be in another type of harmony with nature. I don't know.
And given Kafka, it seems like B is the option that we're heading towards.
Yeah, why did Kafka get infected with a kaiju in the first place?
The kaiju seemed very excited for this too.
Yeah, and I mean, not for nothing, but Kaiju number 9 seems very, very human. The heavy implication is that Kaiju number 9 experienced exactly what Kafka experienced, but there's also, especially in this arc and a little bit later, there's some implication that might also not be true. It's, they haven't revealed a lot yet, but...
Indeed. But that is all stuff that, these two already know, and I'll have to find out later. So I don't think I need to ask...
part 4?
I don't think I need to ask you two if you would continue reading. As for myself... This reading definitely got me a little motivated to go ahead and catch up myself. I'm already starting to move further ahead than the reading strictly demanded, which is weird for me. I usually have too many other things to do.
There's still time.
There is still time. Jay, I see you in the outline here. Put another question of what the fuck.
Well, that was mostly in reference to our discovery in the tank of what. Yes. What does this mean? What does this mean going forward?
I think it means they're going to go to space and fight giant robots.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
Anyway, thank you everyone once again for listening to the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and online at overmangacast.com.
You can also email us directly at overmangacast@gmail.com. And anywhere, any of your podcatchers of choice, if you'd be so kind as to give us a review. Obviously, we hope we've earned 5 stars from you, but any feedback, any ratings that you want to give us are greatly appreciated.
And feel free to drop any recommendations. We are always looking for new stuff to read, and some of our favorite series have come out of those recommendeds. Go back and listen to the Hell's Paradise episode that just dropped, and you'll see a good example there.
Yeah, gotta continue reading that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
And make sure to tune in next week, where we're continuing a little string of revisits here. One that I'm very excited for. Oh boy, let's do it. We're going back to Kill 6 Billion Demons.
Esoterica, my favorite.
We are doing chapters 1 through 5 of book 3 because book 3 is huge and I don't want to overwhelm my co-hosts again. I'm sorry, guys.
Again.
But yes, we are going to get into one of my favorite bits of this webcomic, which is Allison makes every wrong decision, but harder this time.
Ooh, delightful.
I see.
But if you're keeping up with the show, then read that for next week, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.